In the village of Velika Shishivka, in the Shakhtarsk district of Donetsk region, Ukrainian forces attacked the positions of the Russian army. This was reported by the Russian telegram channels. The Ukrainian armed forces destroyed hangars with Russian military equipment. The destruction of the equipment depots testifies to the precise work of Ukrainian intelligence and the destruction of a number of enemy military facilities. According to the participants in the discussion, members of the command staff are suspected of leaking the equipment coordinates. One of the anonymous sources claims the command is in a panic looking for who gave up the coordinates. They are looking among their subordinates, but they should be looking higher. I know who did it. Recall to continue using military airfields for strikes against Ukraine. Russia has installed new air defense systems and is building hangars for aircraft. Recently, new positions for S-300/S-400 air defense systems have appeared at the Millerovo air base in the Rostov region. Protective hangars are also being built on the site of open aircraft parking lots. Hangar construction was also observed at the Belbek air base in occupied Crimea and the Primorsko-Akhtarsk airfield in the Krasnodar region. The newly constructed airfields with new hangars should protect aircraft from attack drones and ATACMS ballistic missile submunitions. But the drone attacks by Ukrainian Operation Spider's Web forces on Russian airfields have called into question Russia's supposed military strength. Russian authorities have acknowledged damage from the June 1st attacks, an unusual admission that suggests the strikes were probably effective, given Russia's usual pattern of downplaying or denying the success of Ukrainian operations. The operation's most significant target was the Belaya airbase north of Mongolia. Belaya, like other bases targeted, is a critical component in the Russian Air Force's strategic strike capabilities because it houses planes capable of long-range nuclear and conventional strikes. It's also in Irkutsk, approximately 4,500 kilometers from the front lines in Ukraine. These attacks could shift what has become increasingly negative media coverage and public perception about Ukraine's chances in the war over the last year. In a war of attrition, which the conflict in Ukraine has become, establishing a belief in victory is a precondition for success.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said Friday that the Russian military is currently moving to extend a buffer zone in Ukraine's Sumy region following a Ukrainian incursion into Russia's neighboring Kursk region. According to Associated Press during the plenary session at St. Petersburg Economic Forum, Putin said that Ukraine lost 76,000 men in the Kursk region. That's a disaster for them, you understand? In the end, as we said, we drove them out of there. But they posed a threat to us and began to create a threat along the entire state border with Ukraine. He added. And now we have to create a security zone along the border, Putin said, adding that the Russian troops have forged about 10 kilometers deep into the Sumy region and are approaching the city of Sumy.
On this relation, how do we maintain our relations?
Российская армия наступает по всем направлениям, на все линии боевого соприкосновения каждый день. Вот смотрите, что они сделали. Взяли, забрались к нам в Курскую область. Так, значит, во-первых, потеряли там 76 тысяч человек. Ну, это катастрофа для них, понимаете? 76 тысяч. Да? В конечном итоге, как мы и говорили, мы их оттуда выбили. Но Они создали угрозу нам, начали создавать по всей линии государственной границы с Украиной.
التقدم التكنولوجي والاقتصادي ومن الجدير بالذكر
Получат какие-то дивиденды с этого. А мы теперь вынуждены создавать зону безопасности вдоль границ на очень многих участках. И они отвлекают туда свои вооруженные силы, которых и так не хватает на принципиальных участках вооруженной борьбы. Я уже говорил, 47% укомплектованности боевых подразделений. 47 всего. Они, в общем-то, теряют боеготовность.
President Vladimir Putin, President
challenges together.
At the start of the full-scale war, Russian artillery was considered one of the Kremlin's main trump cards. Massive shelling created fire curtains behind which troops advanced. At the same time, Russia was considered to have 10 times more guns than Ukraine, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky regularly asked his allies for shells. Much has changed since then. As the commander of the Typhoon UAV unit of the National Guard of Ukraine, call sign Michael, told Forbes, artillery has not disappeared, but now the main threat is drones. Ukraine has made great strides in counter-battery warfare. Cannons that open fire can be detected by counter-battery radars, such as the American AN/TPQ-36 Firefinder, which track the projectile's trajectory and calculate its point of origin. In addition, new generation acoustic sensors are being actively introduced. Radar is the first stage. It determines the approximate area, but not the point. Often, it is an area of 200 by 200 meters, too large for a precise strike, the military man emphasized. Therefore, the use of drones with wide coverage is necessary later, both with real-time video transmission and high-resolution photography. They allow you to accurately determine whether the weapon is in place and transmit the coordinates. The easiest way to detect artillery is when it fires, flashes, smoke, movement of the crew. Even if the gun is partially hidden by trees or buildings, we recognize it by its silhouette. In the forest, we look for tracks, disturbed soil, heat from equipment, Michael noted. After confirming the coordinates, the strike must be carried out immediately before the weapon leaves its position. While counter-battery fire remains relevant in many cases, howitzers are already being replaced by drones. FPV drones, both quadcopters and gliders, are often more accurate and faster than artillery. A quality drone is the most effective way to destroy an artillery system, the military officer emphasized. In practice, a drone can fly slower than a projectile, but it can reach the target faster, since it does not require sighting and fire adjustment. FPV can fly for several minutes, but hit the target on the first try. Artillery, in turn, requires several volleys, especially if the target is moving. If the gun is self-propelled, it can leave before the shell arrives. A drone can follow artillery and hit it even on the move. It is more difficult with towed guns. They need to be hit by their first elements: breech, sight, towing vehicle. The main thing is stable video communication. Without it, the operator will not be able to accurately aim the drone, explains the Ukrainian military man. According to him, new fiber drones help with this, as they do not lose communication even in difficult conditions. After the strike, a reconnaissance drone is used to confirm the destruction. Russian artillery still poses a serious threat, confirms Michael. However, there are still many Russian reconnaissance drones, for example, despite the fact that several thousand of them have been shot down. But it is fact that Russian artillerymen flee from battles because of drones.